I'm ready to go make the next Sundance Screen Award. I don't know. So pumped up to do the next thing. We are going to be closing out. So if you guys want to chat, we totally welcome that. Maybe go to the side rooms or to the back room, but we're going to move on to our fireside chat to help close out our program. And if you guys just came in, there's some people who just walked in during the last program segment. This is Asian Pacific Filmmakers Experience 20th edition. It's our milestone year. And to celebrate that, we really wanted to do something special. And so if anybody's an avid, diehard Sundance enthusiast and also an AAPI history buff, you'll recognize that at the beginning, a lot of things happened in 2002 with a film called Better Luck Tomorrow. And it really did. I've learned actually today, because I got to hang out with some of our speakers, to know the backstory about how things transpired. Justin Lin is an incredible director. He sends his regards. He could not be here today. But we have someone incredible. We have Sung Kang, the actor and filmmaker, who is part of this milestone that we really want to celebrate and reflect on, just to see how far we've come here at Sundance and Park City and in the film space since then. So I hope you guys are ready for that conversation. We're going to have a great fireside chat with him. And I'm going to introduce our moderators of the fireside chat, which are two amazing APFE co-producers. We have David Magdael. And Milton. We are all gifted these stars by Daniel Dickens, so thank you very much to Anthony. Now it's a look. We have Milton here. We can give it up for Milton. He is the interim executive. No interim, not the interim. He is the executive director of the Asian American Media Alliance. You tell me about that. He is also a screenplay writer, a producer, an overall badass for the Asian American community. He's worked in support of visual communications as director of programs and artist services. Just a powerhouse in himself. Everyone give it up for Milton Liu. And we have David Magdael, who is actually the godfather of APFE. David is a powerhouse publicist. This man has represented films independent to, Oscar nominated. He has seen it all over the decades. He has represented, he has fought for visibility for API and marginalized communities. So long. I look up to David so much. He's also a fabulous dresser and just the best hype man on the planet. He's a Peabody Award winner, so everyone give it up for David Magdael. Introduce them because you guys gotta have something to do, and I'll get on stage. So give it up for our fireside chat.
Hello. Thank you, everyone. Again, as Minji said, Milton Liu. One other thing I want to mention, that I'm a proud member of the Asian American Writers Committee of the WGA West. So we're pushing forward. But it's so inspiring to see everyone here, and it warms this cold black heart to bring up the two pioneers and trailblazers that eventually have led to our 20th edition of the Asian Pacific Filmmaker Experience at the Sunrise House. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to get right to it. So January 2002, the premiere of the seminal Asian American film Better Luck Tomorrow. I'd love to just hear what the atmosphere was like, the beginnings, the during, the post. So please feel free to jump in and describe that.
Let me just start early. Before 2002, VC Visual Communications was very important in working together with Justin Lin and with all the actors. They opened up the space where they could rehearse all the time. I remember we'd go in and we'd say, who are these people rehearsing, and what are they doing? It was like 2000 or something, or before then. And then we fast forward to 2002, we're all coming up here to Sundance. And the film, those of you who've seen it, it was very phenomenal. Because BOT really set the groundwork for a lot of people who are here to go to film school. Because they finally saw the film that they saw themselves in a film and a script that was not just the immigration story, that was not about just internment, but it was about how they were living their lives as Americans here in America, obviously. Coming up here, we were all excited, right? We're all excited, you know, VC, Visual Communication was all excited, CAM was excited, ACB, all of these are organizations that were really laying the groundwork for people like Justin Lin and other filmmakers. Tony Bowie sitting up here, when he did 3 seasons, we all got excited, right? Because he won the Grand Jury Prize, and that was kind of a first, a non-documentary. So Tony did 3 seasons. If you haven't seen it, see it. But when we're coming up here with BLT, and with Justin, and with Sung, and with Roger, and Perry, and John Cho, and Karen, but who's the guy that's on Warrior?
Jason.
Jason. Just being with that energy and the people around it was so infectious. And also Justin being our leader, which is so infectious because we had the wherewithal to document the journey coming up here, riding in a car, taking pictures. Oh, look, we made it to Park City. And for a lot of AAPIs, this was a first for us. So coming up here, we did not know what this was going to be about. I started coming to Sundance in 2000 with the eyes of Tammy Faye. I looked around, like Tony said, there's probably maybe 3 or 4 of us that were Asian Americans. We looked, okay, how do we used to wave across the room at, each other, right? We would see, people from across the room. I brought Irene Cho together with me. We both came up as publicists. And we said we have to be part of all this because we felt that. When we got here, we weren't sure what that was going to be because we were in competition, and that was like a first for a film of this kind. And we premiered at the high school at the Echoes, 1,200 seats. It was amazing, but it was also very interesting. I'm gonna throw this on. You can tell us about what that was like when we went in there.
So I guess competition films, they get the opportunity to premiere at the Eccles, which is one of the larger venues at Sundance. And I mean, it was the first time, at least for me and many of the cast members, that we had that type of audience watching our work. And we didn't know what to expect. We went in there. I mean, I didn't even know what Sundance was. It was when Justin called me and said, "Hey, we're going to Sundance." I go, we're going dancing? I don't know. And he explained to me it's a film market, etc. Robert Redford. I was like, okay. And so we get to the Eccles, we screen it, and then typically there's a Q&A and people ask questions, and there weren't many questions. It's just like, did you shoot it on film? Yeah, and they were like, all right, that's it. And then we left, and it was just kind of crickets, It's walking around Sundance and going, hey, where are they going? It's like, they're going to a party. Can we go? No, not you. You can't get in. Like, so what is this? What do we do? And so it was just kind of just really quiet. And our third screening was at the library, smaller venue. By then, we just said, let's just enjoy the experience. I mean, everybody was stacked in the cabin. We're just, able to come together and celebrate this accomplishment of, we actually finished the movie, right? And expectations were none, really. They were 0, right? Because there was really nothing to compare it to. And then at the library, we had the screening and Q&A. There's some basic questions. Did you shoot it on film? Yes. And then all of a sudden, this journalist gets up, and we won't name names, and he basically said to us, you should be ashamed that you represented your people this way. How dare you represent Asians and Asian Americans in this light? You guys should not make movies. And we're like, uh-oh, they're gonna start throwing stuff at us. And Roger Ebert, I don't know if some of you guys might know him, and maybe too young, but he is the reason I think I'm still here. And he got up, it was like Moses.
He got up, and he's a big man, right? He gets up on his chair. We thought he was gonna fall down because he got up on the chair, right?
So, people are screaming at each other, and he gets up, and everyone's like, hey, it's Roger. And Roger defended us. He defended what we were doing. He's like, for hundreds of years, Native Americans have always had to portray what America needed them to be, to fit in a box. They're spear-chucking medicine men. and you are uncomfortable that these Asian or model minorities are not portraying characters that you are comfortable with. And thus, if there were, white actors up there, you would have no problem. Their only responsibility is to make a good film, and that's what they did. We need to celebrate that. And then it was, right? And then
the whole place erupted. Right? It was crazy.
Yeah. And Evan Leong, UCLA film student, future filmmaker, had his little Canon GL1 and he was following us around. And you can watch this documentary called BLT Genesis. And then he's recording all of that. And so all that stuff was sent to the trades, right?
We had to do that night. So Evan caught it on tape. And it was tape back then. There was no internet. There was not much back in 2002. So we went to Albertsons, which is now Fresh Fair, and we got all the VHS tapes that were there. We spent the whole night duping everything. So I think we had like 20 different VHSs. The next morning when the press office opened, we made sure that every outlet, entertainment outlet, had that tape in there. So when they went to go see what their mail was going to be. But that night, after we were done at the library, there was an Entertainment Weekly party next door at the shed where they now do yoga. So we sent people over there from our screening just to tell other people, like, this is what went down at Sundance, because it was a true Sundance moment that, this ally stood up for us out loud in front of everybody, and it just kind of triggered everything. And so then we knew who the right people were to go to. It was IndieWire, people who could spread the word, and then by the next morning it had gotten around, and then the videotape had leaked out. If you go onto YouTube, you can see, I think it's called BLT Genesis, like what you said. But that was the spark that got all of us excited, that got all of everybody excited. When we went around on tour with that film, because MTV ended up buying it. Also, they bought it based on that reaction too. They gave us a year to go from city to city, college to college, with the cast mostly and with Justin. So we played 2002. We didn't go into theaters till 2003, right? But we played like Northwestern. We were at all these. What was great was seeing all the faces of the kids that were in college then, just being like, wow, this is my movie. There was ownership with that. It was interesting because you told the story yesterday about John Chu and how this influenced him. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, I got the opportunity to speak with John Chu post Crazy Rich Asians, and I never met him. We never did a project together, but definitely respecting where he's taking his work and representing the community. And we were talking about some project that he was directing, and and right away in this conversation, he's like, the reason I had the courage to become a filmmaker was because of Better Luck Tomorrow. And I just assumed like, oh, so you watched it on a videotape, great. I've heard that. He goes, no, I was there in the front row at the library in 2002 when all of that went down. And that was the day that I decided I was going to become a filmmaker. And I was like, wow, I didn't know, a small little independent movie like that could have impact. And I felt, because I'm not in Crazy Riches, I have no connection to it, but then I felt connected to it. And it was like, wow, we are all connected somehow. And what a wonderful story that he shared, right? And it's like, and then I said, you're welcome, John.
But also to the impact of that film going around, and we went, like I said, we went to college campuses because we thought that's going to be our audience. And there were people that were like, got on board. And there's someone that's in the audience who I need to shout out, who was going to UC Berkeley. And all of a sudden he made news for us over there. And it's Jack Song, who's sitting over here, who was at UC Berkeley at the time. But then you fast forward now, he's like on the San Francisco Film Commission, like second in charge. So you see the effect that 2002, Better Luck Tomorrow, Justin Lin, all these guys had impact on probably most of us in here. And then, we're living in this time period where oh, this is so great, but I don't know, just me, historically, I'm looking, okay, '02 was amazing, but then it was like, kind of like, where are we at? And then all of a sudden 2018 popped, right?
Right. So we had Crazy Rich Asians
Right.
come out, fantastic, supported by Gold House.
Right.
And
And even
then,
in 2018, we had John Chu at one of these APFE things, and it was January. The film wasn't coming out till August. We had naysayers that were like, "Oh, what's Crazy Rich Asians? What is that title?" And these are our own people, right? We don't know about it. So we had people within the community like, "Well, we're not going to support it." But when they finally saw it, they're like, "Oh, I can invite my friends because they can all laugh about it." What was interesting, and I thought I would give a shout out to Warner Brothers. They're multicultural people, said, "Oh, we need to know what we need to do to reach that audience." So Gold House came on, but there was a group of us, there were 10 or 12 of us. Minji was on that group that were like community outreach. John comes to the meeting and he says, "Okay, I don't know what to do. You guys know what to do with this." And we told him what we did with BOT, and then Warner Brothers said, "Whatever you need, we'll give you the money to do what you did." So what we did in a year with BOT, we were able to do in a month with Crazy Rich Asians because Warner Brothers believed in the film. And so we have to give them a shout out for that. But they understood what we wanted to do, and John took the risk with all of us. The funny thing was there was a super naysayer that was at our event and said, "I don't know if I can support that." But then that naysayer ended up being in our community group and became a super advocate for the film. And I just say that because I know a lot of our own community, they always like, "Oh, I don't know if I can support that. I'm not sure if I need, to be part of that." They're almost ashamed, but I think it's more generational than it is anything else. But then I look at how do we reinvent ourselves as we move forward, right? 2018, Crazy Rich Asians knocked open the doors for many, many more possible projects. And it meant, across the board. The funny thing is like, some of the shoes though, you have to be Chinese because that's what we're looking for because Crazy Rich Asians was Chinese. But I think people were able to like overcome that. But then we fast forward and where we are in 2023, how many watched the Oscars in 2023? Was that historic or what, right? That's like the best picture. I was lucky enough to be in the audience and we just stood up and screamed every time we won something and we got our whole group up there because you just had to be part of history. Because for me, who's been in the trenches a long time, coming from the 70s, going to school and graduating out of UC Davis and Berkeley in the late 70s, early 80s, this moment is something we've dreamed a lot about. Linda Mabalit from VC and Irene Cho, both of these who are not here, this is what we dreamed of, having a choice, right? We could see Joyride, we could see Crazy Rich Asians, and look at, okay, Beef kills it at the Emmy. Yesterday, being here at Sunrise Collective with Stephen Newman and Lucy Liu, I was so high for 2 days. I mean, well, for, whatever it was, but this is the power, I think, of what we do here collectively. I look at Sung too, and I'll shut up. Sung is like directing now, not only is he acting, but we've got Milton who's doing, with the media work that we need to do, plus he's also producing and writing. I'm doing more on the producing side, mostly of the documentary. I got a Peabody Award last year for a film that we worked on, not Asian, like some of the guys. I say all that to say is you have to reinvent yourself to be part of the time. You also, if there's something that you want to do, you have to do it. I mean, I'm gonna throw it to him because his film,
Shaky Shivers.
Shaky Shivers. Where can we see that? I went to your screening at the Regal LA Live downtown. Where can we see that?
Yes, yes.
Where do we see it?
Horrible marketer for my own film. You know what? Just Google it. Yeah.
No, but it's such a great example, Sung, and you've been a great example for all of us that, you're writing and directing, as well as acting and keeping it out there. Because I think every time we see you on screen, we're like, oh, that's Sung Kang, oh, that's Han. So that's been really, really great. So what about for you?
I'm just extremely grateful that after 30 years, after our first time here, that I can wake up every day and just be grateful that I have passion to continue to move forward, that I still have passion for acting and writing and creating and collaborating and directing. And the last thing I wanted to become is somebody that was jaded, that walked through life with the headlights on dim. And before, I had a lot of hope, but that hope felt hopeless because I didn't know what to do with that hope. And now, with this passion, sitting in a room like this, coming back to Sundance, and not having to make excuses for my Asianness, that this is not, just a gimmick or a fluke. I was saying earlier back, when there was all this hype with Better Luck Tomorrow, but it wasn't like feeling like you won the lottery or the Powerball. It was like, I won like a scratcher. And it's probably gonna disappear pretty soon, right? It's not a lot. So it's like, and then you shared yesterday, it's like, for the next 2 years, there were no other films that represented us. And, coming here, having expectations that, there was a hot movie, we got some buzz, and maybe I'll get an agent, and maybe I'll be able to have these opportunities. None of that really came, so reality was still there. The reality was that there were no opportunities because we needed our voice behind the camera, in the rooms, in the writing rooms. And that just took time. Now we're here. And now I'm so grateful because because of this passion, I feel like it's tangible that working hard and just constantly running up this hill every day, there's possibilities to see Steve in Beef do work where I go, that is why I became an actor. It's tangible. It's not just this grandiose hope that maybe I'll win the Powerball one day, right? So that's where I am today, So it's not easy, just because you're Han and you have nice hair, it doesn't always work out. Still gotta run.
And we had talked earlier, us three, about, a lot of the times as filmmakers, as storytellers, we tend to not celebrate our wins. We kind of focus on, we didn't get into Sundance, or my pilot didn't get picked up, or, just these things that, over the course, and it's so great to reconnect with Sung and David about this, is that we need to celebrate our wins. We need to focus more on that because we cannot just be this jaded, cynical self. And then when we turn and look at our wins, there's hope. We're grateful. There's gratitude for the community, for us to be able to tell our stories, for the community to support us. So it was really, really just uplifting to have that discussion with you both.
No, exactly. And I think having forums like this, right, like Sunrise Collective, it's all about coming back to the community. Because if we, as a community, don't support our arts or our artists, we're not going to have these people that are going to tell our stories. I don't want Matt Damon to tell my story. I want Sung Kang to tell my story. I want Kenji over there who has a documentary to tell my story. I want Richard Louis, who we see on TV, who's now working into film, to tell our story. This is what other people are doing, and all of you that are here who paid money to show up, it's not cheap to come up. And there's Isa, who wrote her own film this year, starred in it. They self-distribute. They had to self-distribute. It took them 2 years to get it to where it is. But these are, like you said, celebrating the wins. That's what we have to do. And we have to support each other. I know I sound like I'm preaching, but I'm just saying, it's just like, that's why it's great to come here. I'm so glad this is the second year that we're having Sunrise Collective. I'm so grateful to 3AD, Goldhouse, and TAP, because we would not have this, right? And on behalf of APFE, since this is our 20th, we started in 2002. We just wanted to, it was me, Irene Cho, Linda Mabalit, Winston Imano, Abe Ferrer, and maybe a handful of some other people. We said, look, Better Luck Tomorrow is going to be, we got to celebrate that. Bertha Face Offhand had Face. We had 2 in competition, in dramatic competition. It wasn't a documentary. We said we needed to do something, even if we were going to celebrate by having fortune cookie and tea. We found a Chinese restaurant behind the Yarrow Hotel called Panda Bear or something. China Panda. But the funny thing was, the Utah Film Commission came in. They had just had a really great experience with Ong Lee doing Brokeback Mountain. They came and said, "Oh, you guys are doing this. We want to be a part of this. Here's $6,000." They gave us $6,000. We invited everybody and their mother that we knew that were coming up to Sundance to come and join us for like a Chinese smorgasbord. It was like all you can eat kind of stuff like that. But it was a moment that we could all spend maybe an hour, 45 minutes just to hug each other, say hey. You know, now it's morphed into, now we're doing panels, right? And we're just trying to move the narrative forward so that we can have a lot of you to tell the story, so it's not just sitting on people's shoulders. Also, I have to shout out Asian Cinevision New York, CAM in San Francisco. Those orgs have been in the trenches trying to make sure that we're lifting our artists up. Anyway, I'll shut up.
And now it's great too with, you know, Brown Girls Doc Mafia, Asian American Documentary Network, and so forth. So,
And ADOC.
I just said that.
But also, wait, talk to us about what you do over at Asian American Media Network, because that's important. A lot of us don't even know that.
Yeah, so the Asian American Media Alliance started in '99 when Paramount and Viacom merged. And you know, of '99, some of you probably weren't born, but like, you know, broadcast television at that time, so white. So if these two conglomerates were going to merge, we teamed up with the NAACP, National Hispanic Media Coalition, and American Indians in Film and TV. So we demanded to have, with the broadcast networks, to sign an MOU where we go in and discuss their programming in front of the camera and behind the camera. So that's what started the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, like the Disney writing program, the Warner's directing program, things like that. So it's just been very important. Our first chairperson was Norman Mineta. So this is still the work that we're doing, because as we see like these huge mega mergers that are happening, you know, what gets cut out first? Diversity and inclusion, right? So we need people exactly not even in front of the camera, behind the camera, but exec levels too. We need to have we have to be at that table. We have to be able to share our voices. And you know, Nielsen and Pew and everyone's talked about like how Asian Americans spend the most on media and entertainment per capita. It's good business. You know, look at Fast and Furious. I mean, that's the biggest, you know, case. But like, they'll be like, oh, well, you already have one. There's already one minority movie out there, or one blockbuster. Like, it took 25 years for Fresh Off the Boat to have an Asian American family, you know, on a network. You know, but it's still inspiring to see, you know, shows, films. We talked about Beef, and you know, American Born Chinese this past year. Expats with Lulu Wang is coming out this week. You know, just we keep pushing, and I think we talked about this song about, you know, standing our ground. You know, like we've been in so many meetings where they're like, "Oh, we really like your project. Does the lead have to be Asian?" Right? Oh, we just, you know, we want to see if it might be colorblind casting for us. And we're like, no. So now we understand. You know, we have to go through those trials and tribulations and learn from it, but we have to instill the confidence in our voices and our creativity to be able to tell our own stories and don't settle for less, right? So again, it's improving, but there's so much more work to be done.
Well, also too, you know, who's become very pivotal in telling our stories has been CAPE. You know, I remember when CAPE when they first started, it was different, but under Michelle Sujihara, she's helping, you know, CAPE has really been helping shape a lot of the scripts and screenplays to get out there. I mean, it's leaps and bounds, I think, with them.
So as we are pushing forward,
yeah.
You know, we are 22 years from Better Luck Tomorrow, and we talked about these shows and the kind of dearth period that we had. What's your advice to filmmakers, to our community going forward? Where we're gonna be? What do we need to do?
For all of you who are creators and who need to continue to create, you need to write your story. use that imagination, whatever that desire that you have, that passion that's inside you. You talk about the passion that you have. You wake up in the morning, this is what I'm going to do, right? For all of you that are here, like, oh, I can't get this off the ground, I invite you to collaborate with other people that are like-minded like you. And then support some of these organizations that are actually going to be incubating you. They're in the panel before us, they were talking about what Sundance does for a lot of these artists. If there's a way that you can get into some of their programs, but look for those programs that are there for you. But I think just continue to create. If you can do that, I was trying to think if there's anything else, or to evolve yourself. I mean, I'm in publicity. I'm doing mostly my work in documentary, and I love it. So I have a job that I love, and I wake up every morning like, okay, there's not enough time in a day, but I'm also looking out for what other people are doing. Where else can we support our own people? Working together, I work with Ramona Diaz, and a lot of work with her since 2004, 20 years ago. We had Imelda here, and that was a pivotal year for me, because we had Imelda, we had Supersize Me, and we had Control. All three of those documentaries became very historic. When I look back in terms of my own trajectory, I said that's why I do the work that I do. This year I have 20 Days in Mariupol that could get nominated, but the first 20 days of the war in Ukraine. When I see that film, I said, this is the work that I do because that's like important. And for me, what's really important is important work. For you as creators, for you that are teaching other people, this is what I would challenge you to do. Look back and what you can say, what did I do in 2024? What mark did I make to move myself forward, and maybe that story that I want to tell, I get to tell that story. Right?
Great answer. I don't know. I mean, I have to give myself advice every morning. I wake up, and it's hard. Every day I go, maybe I don't belong here. It's time to throw in the towel. But again, I'm so passionate about creating, about the art of acting, and the art of writing, and the art of filmmaking. And you just have to wake up. I mean, that doesn't just apply to filmmakers. I think to anybody in life is you wake up and you climb up that hill. You surround yourself with positive people, and you got to put in the hours.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that when we talk about beef, even as an actor, I got like wise, advice from Sandra Oh when I was younger. I was like, hey, I see you in these little short films, but you're in Grey's Anatomy. Why are you doing that? And she's like, it's a 10,000-hour rule. It's like, where do I get to go and get on the court or in the driver's seat? The opportunities are limited, so I seek it out. And I was like, yeah, that's why I suck as an actor, because I don't get the opportunities to be at the place, like, go, just do it. And you have to be brave, it's like coming to Sundance and asking questions and putting yourself on the line. It's like, it's hard. Everything's supposed to be hard. But it's just like anything else in life. If you love what you're doing, and that's honest, and it's not for fame and all the nonsense, it's like if you really have something to say, you're already in a good place. And the second, you have to grind. It is so hard. Every day they say, your hair is just too beautiful, we can't cast you. Every day they say no to me. But you gotta grind. One day, they're gonna need this, right?
And on that though, I'm sorry I think we're running out of time, but thank you so much for everyone being here. So inspiring. And please, let's give a hand to Sung Kang and Magdael. Thank you all.
Milton Liu.